All right, guys. Good morning. I had a crazy thing happen again last night. I always have things happen in my life, no matter how much I prepare. So I had prepared, went to bed like at 9, knowing that I had to get up early. By the way, I fidget. I fidget with my hair. I fidget. When I went over someone's house before, I was like playing with the cigarette box. I was playing with the pen. They're like, all you do is fidget. I fidget. That's why you see me doing this. Anyways, I went to work. I planned my work schedule. I'm like, okay, last week you called in, you only went in one day, so make sure you get your extra rest. And I was feeling fine up until like the last minute of me going to work. And I started going down, and when I don't feel good, I know I'm going to be no good to anyone at work. So, I'm like, what the heck's going on, right? And I had this pain in my thigh and pelvis area, and I'm like, this is so weird. So, my I wore slacks last night when we went out for a family social, with my sons, and I'm like, maybe your pants were too tight, maybe you have a rash on your inner leg, and then I had called in because I had become feverish. So, I've got like this. I sent my boss a picture. I've got like this, like swollen area where it looks like something bit me or something. I don't know what it is, and it's painful. So I am headed off to the doctors. I did call them. I called urgent care, and I'm like, what do you charge? And they're like, these are our fees, because I don't have insurance. So I will have to get retro Medicaid. I never go to the doctors. I just am someone who was brought up only a few times on my hand I can count of going to the doctors, or the dentist. So I don't really do doctors up until recently, up until very recently. Like I had, my heart was, I thought I was having a heart attack one day. So I had gone over to, the emergency room just to make sure I was doing okay. And now I am definitely going to the doctors. And if I look back, I'm lucky I haven't really had any health problems in my life. I've been really healthy, but now I'm like, as I get older, um, make it part of your self-care routine. Make sure you do see the doctor and you are taking extra good care of yourself, as you get older. And I think if I look back, I was busy with my kids. I had like no time for me with three little ones, and then my husband's cancer, and then two more kids. And I was just like, I'm healthy. I don't need to be checked. They did go to the doctors. I did not depend on the doctors at all. I was very particular about which immunizations, if any, my kids would have, and where I homeschooled, the risk was lower. And so I'm like, they can wait on this shot until they are older. Definitely not as a baby, not having all those shots. So every time I would go and get a checkup, it seemed for my kids, I'd hear, so are we immunizing today? Nope. And then and I did research on it, and I'd get red flagged from the doctors and everything until I had switched a few doctors. One doctor, I had one son who was hyper, and they wanted him on Ritalin. They didn't even know him. It was like a new doctor, and it was just like a band-aid. Let's put him on Ritalin. And I had read about how boys, as a homeschool mom, have more, they have a lot of energy. It's hard for boys to sit still sometimes. And I'm like, nope, we're not doing Ritalin. And I had switched doctors. So I am glad I made that decision because, it can be like a drug for kids. It really can. So, so then another time, I did have another doctor because I just went to a clinic and they had different doctors doing their internship there. So I was assigned another doctor, and he was from like Poland, and he had all the diseases you can think of, and he had natural immunization. So he did not have a problem with me not immunizing. You know, a couple of my kids, um, a few of them got chicken pox, had natural immunity there. One of my sons served in the military, so he had all his shots. Plus, once he was in the military, so you know, it's not a black and white thing, immunizations, and neither is going to the doctors. But I do look back and I'm like, well, you know, you could have, maybe you could have gone a little bit more, Melissa, you know, just to keep track of your blood pressure and everything better. But you know, I just haven't had an issue, and you know, the other side is, well, you know, it could have been a waste of money too. But now, as I get older, you know, I give plasma, and my blood pressure is always low. Um, but when you do have an issue, don't be afraid to go. Don't be afraid to be like, I don't, you know, I don't care what the cost is. I am worth being taken care of, and get the care that you need. So I am off doing that. I will have another video as I'm walking, about a church sermon yesterday. And yeah, just make sure you invest in yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. It's important. I think times are changing. I think people do go to the doctors more. You can be your own doctor. That's another thing. Be your own doctor. Don't ever, you know, feel like, oh, the doctor says this and they're the authority. Don't do that. And especially as a woman, you know, where I talk about I had a forced abortion, going to the doctors was very invasive for me when I was pregnant with my sons. So I was like, you know, I'm not going to the doctors. And when I had my last three pregnancies, I had home births, which were much more gentler, much better in a million ways. I mean, I was educated. I could make a lot of the decisions, and that's really important when you're giving birth, to be in that place of this is my body and I'm making decisions. So, if you have had post-abortive trauma, don't feel like you can't have a voice with the doctors and say, you know, hey, you know, I'm okay with this, but no, we're not going to do that. And just be very vocal about your own health. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.